There's a kind of terror that seizes you when you realize your child is in danger. It's not the fleeting anxiety of a missed call or a late-night drive. It's raw, primal, a visceral claw that sinks into your chest and squeezes until you can't breathe. That's the fear that consumed me on a warm September afternoon in Dallas. A day that started so innocently but left scars I still feel when I close my eyes. It was the kind of day where the air carried the sweet scent of freshly mowed grass, and golden leaves crunched underfoot, a perfect snapshot of suburban calm. My 6-year-old son, Ryan, had been buzzing with excitement all day, begging to visit the park after school. His infectious energy was impossible to resist, so I relented, promising an hour of play before dinner. The park was alive with the sounds of childhood, shrieks of laughter, the rhythmic creak of swings, the thump of sneakers on wood chips. Ryan, with his unruly brown curls and boundless enthusiasm, darted toward the playground the moment we arrived, his sneakers kicking up clouds of dust as he joined the other kids. He was fearless in that pure, untainted way only children can be, climbing the jungle gym with reckless abandon, his laughter echoing across the field. I settled onto a weathered, wooden bench nearby, close enough to keep an eye on him but far enough to give him the illusion of independence. My phone was in my hand, scrolling through emails and news, the mundane hum of adult life lulling me into a false sense of security. Then I heard it, a voice calling Ryan's name. At first, it barely registered. Kids shout names all the time, a chaotic symphony of play. But the voice came again, closer now, deeper, unfamiliar. "Ryan, buddy, come here." My head snapped up, my heart giving a sudden painful thud. Near the edge of the playground, partially obscured by the slide's bright red curve, was a man. He was crouched low, his posture predatory, yet cloaked in a veneer of friendliness. His smile was too wide, too eager, stretching across his face, like a mask that didn't quite fit. His arms were outstretched, beckoning as if he expected Ryan to run straight into them. The world tilted. My stomach churned, a cold knot of dread tightening in my gut. I stood so fast the bench scraped against the pavement, the sound jarring in the warm afternoon air. Ryan had stopped running, his small body frozen mid-step, one sneaker hovering above the ground as he stared at the man. His expression was one of curiosity, not fear, and that made my panic surge even higher. "Ryan!" My voice cut through the playground, sharper than I'd meant, slicing through the chatter of other children. He turned, startled, his wide blue eyes meeting mine. I gestured frantically for him to come to me, my hand slicing through the air like a warning signal. He jogged over, his backpack bouncing against his small shoulders, and I dropped to one knee, pulling him close. My pulse hammered in my ears, a relentless drumbeat. The man straightened, his hand slipping casually into the pockets of his faded jeans. His smile faltered just for a moment, like a predator interrupted mid-hunt. I kept my eyes locked on him, my hand gripping Ryan's shoulder a little too tightly. "Do you know that man?" I asked, my voice low, barely steady. Ryan shook his head, his curls bouncing. "No, Daddy." The man was still there watching us, his gaze heavy and unblinking. "Let's go," I muttered, steering Ryan toward the car. My steps were quick, purposeful, though every instinct screamed at me to run. I didn't look back, but I could feel his eyes on us, a weight that pressed against my spine. The walk to the car felt endless, the parking lot stretching out like a desert under the late afternoon sun. I buckled Ryan into his booster seat, my hands trembling as I checked the straps. Twice, then slid into the driver's seat and locked the doors. Only then did I allow myself a glance in the rearview mirror. The man was gone, swallowed by the park's edges, but the unease lingered, a shadow that clung to me. That night, I couldn't shake the image of his outstretched arms, the way he'd called Ryan's name with a familiarity that made me skin crawl. I tried to distract myself, focusing on the routine of dinner. Spaghetti, Ryan's favorite, the sauce splattering his shirt as Het whirled his fork with exaggerated care. But my mind kept replaying the moment, dissecting it, searching for clues I might have missed. The way his smile didn't reach his eyes, the way his voice had carried just enough warmth to sound convincing. I tucked Ryan into bed, pulling the dinosaur-patterned blanket up to his chin and forced a smile as I kissed his forehead. "Sleep tight, buddy," I said, my voice softer than usual. He looked up at me, his eyes wide and trusting. "Daddy, why didn't you let me go talk to my friend?" The words hit me like a punch. I froze, my hand still resting on the blanket. "Your friend?" I forced my voice to stay calm, though my heart was racing again. "What do you mean?" "The man from the park," Ryan said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "He's my friend." My stomach dropped, a sickening lurch that left me dizzy. "Ryan, you said you didn't know him." "I don't really," he admitted, his voice small. "But we've been talking." A cold sweat prickled across my skin, my hands clenching the edge of his blanket so tightly my knuckles turned white. "Talking?" I managed, my voice barely above a whisper. "When?" He shrugged, his small shoulders rising under the blanket. "The last few days at recess." He stands by the fence and waves at me. "Today he said we could play together at the park after school." The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in as my breath caught in my throat. "What else did he say?" I asked, fighting to keep my voice steady. Ryan frowned, his little face scrunching as he thought. "He asked what games I like. He said, I'm really cool. Oh, and he said he has a puppy at home, a really fluffy one." The mention of the puppy sent a fresh wave of nausea through me. I'd read enough news stories to know what that meant. A classic lure, a predator's bait. Ryan must have seen the fear in my eyes because his expression shifted to worry. "Did I do something bad, Daddy?" I forced a smile, brushing his curls back from his forehead. "No, buddy, you didn't do anything wrong." But someone else had, and the thought of it made my blood boil. I kissed him goodnight, turned on his nightlight and closed the door, my mind racing. That man had been watching Myson, talking to him, grooming him, and I hadn't known. The realization felt like a betrayal, not just of Ryan, but of my own instincts as a parent. The next morning, I called in sick to work. There was no way I was letting Ryan go to school without me watching. I drove him to school, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles ached. After dropping him off, I parked a block away, blending in with the other parents milling around the school's entrance. My heart pounded as I scanned the fence line, the chain-link barrier that separated the playground from the street. And then I saw him. Same hoodie, same too-wide smile, leaning casually against the fence like he belonged there. He was watching the kids, his eyes scanning the playground with a predator's patience. Rage surged through me, hot and blinding. I started walking toward him, my fists clenched, my breath coming in sharp bursts. He noticed me when I was about 20 feet away, his smile faltering for a split second before he straightened, his posture shifting to one of feigned nonchalance. "Hey there," he said as I approached, his voice smooth like we were old friends catching up. "Something wrong?" I stopped just short of him, my body trembling with the effort to stay calm. "Yeah," I said, my voice low and tight. "Why the hell are you talking to my son?" His smirk widened, a glint of amusement in his eyes. "I just like kids, nothing wrong with that, is there?" The casualness of his response pushed me over the edge. I grabbed the front of his hoodie, slamming him against the fence with a force that rattled the chain link. "You stay the hell away from him," I growled, my face inches from his. His smile didn't waver, but something shifted in his eyes, something cold and calculating. Before I could react, pain flared across my ribs, sharp and searing. I stumbled back, my breath catching as I realized he'd nicked me with a small knife, held low and out of sight. "I'd be real careful," he said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "This is your only warning." My vision tunneled, every instinct screaming at me to fight, to take him down. But there were kids nearby, teachers, parents. I couldn't risk it. I let go of his hoodie, my hands shaking, and he took a step back, his smirk gone. Without another word, he turned and walked away, disappearing down the street like a shadow dissolving into the morning light. I reported him immediately. I called the police, filed a report, told the school everything. I described his face, his clothes, the knife. But no one else had seen him. No cameras had caught him. The police promised to keep an eye out, but without a name or a clear threat, their hands were tied. Ryan still talks about him sometimes, mentioning the friend from the park with the same innocent curiosity he reserves for his classmates. I don't tell him the truth, that the man had a plan, a sinister intent that I'd stopped just in time. I thank God every day that I was there, that I heard his voice, that I acted. But the fear lingers, a constant reminder that the world isn't as safe as I want it to be for my son.